Hello, hello, welcome to Season 5 How's Played D&D, the explainer podcast for one experienced dungeon master and one fellow scriptwriter to discuss D&D topics. I will catch my breath. My name is Connor Kinsey, and my illustrious guest this week is Luke, also known as Nomadic Bard. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Episode 3 in a row with
Yeah.
me. You're still here.
I am, yeah. I've not gone crazy yet.
The call to Samaritans hasn't happened yet.
Not quite yet, no.
No, yeah, give it time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. Okay, well, this season we are doing things slightly different. Our guests have selected an enemy from a list that I've supplied, and they're going to educate us as to why we should use these creatures. And of course, I will interrogate, which, as we said in the last episode, I have never done. Luke, what creature or creatures are we talking about this week?
We're going into the hells to get some flirty fiends and talking about succubi and incubi.
Let's get to it. Okay, well, today's episode is on Succubus and Incubuses. I've definitely said that wrong. The only it gets better. The only creatures in the monster manual directly gendering words to protect far right views. Luke, I've been. I thought you'd like that. Luke, I've been protesting for better vegetables to be installed in my local pub because currently there are none. What am I doing?
I mean, it's the north, mate. Did you get vegetables up there? No.
It's cold. Everything's a root vegetable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. God. Sometimes we get political, but it's just enough to be embarrassingly whatever it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Why did you pick succubi and incubi?
I mean, now that we've mentioned the gendered terms and I'm a trans person, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have. No. Why did I pick them? It's a good question. I think just because they are fun to run, and what's the point of D&D if you can't flirt with your friends and charm them? To be honest,
that's actually it's a pickup. People are asking why there's no nerd dating sites, but they are. They exist. The apps exist. They're called D&D Facebook groups.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's the point? Yeah.
I don't want to just message the person. I'm going to run a session for them as a DM, tell them how to play D&D for the rest of their life, and then just chat with them for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much how I would get into a relationship.
Okay. So, why did you pick them? To charm, have a bit of a laugh, good RP.
Yeah, and they're interesting creatures that you can use. I mean, they're kind of fairly standard across folklore and D&D canon. People do know about them, but I think my favorite thing is just because a big part of them is that they're shape changers. This is where we get gender inclusive, because you can change it to whatever you want. Is that you can terrorize every time I talk about terrorizing a party. I'm starting to realize myself as a DM over these last 3 episodes. But you can terrorize your party with them because they could change into anybody. They could change into a beloved NPC. They could change into one of the player characters if you trust somebody enough to run it that way. And completely take them by surprise. So they're fun to mess with people's minds.
Yeah, it's definitely something different that you don't expect all the time in D&D. It really breaks up what's going on, and it's a great kind of people come across like the enemies and they instantly know it's an enemy. Where something like this can really do some damage from the inside, and good RP for players as well.
Oh, absolutely! Like that slow reveal when it is, or this NPC or PC starts acting really strange and starts to like lean in for a kiss because their ability is draining kiss.
Yeah.
Can really mess with their minds because they're like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden they've taken 3d8 damage. So, what more could you want?
Just to get them going. Okay. What kind of stats does a succubi or incubi have?
So for quite a low level creature, because they're only CR4, and as we heard on the Aboleth episode, I like to put level 5 players against the CR10, so God knows what. I think they were level 3 when they got put against this.
Right.
So I was nice that time. But for a CR4 creature, they're not too bad in terms of like generally how to fight. AC 15, hit point 71. You could, it wouldn't be too bad for a sort of third level party to go through.
Mm.
But the way that they kind of balance or make it a bit more interesting is they've got some good resistances. I mean, fire being one, they're fiends, of course, cold, poison, and psychic. So you can sometimes have party members that, their damage is that, or they've got to figure out kind of like we were talking last time about having a bit of a puzzle in that fight.
Mm.
But you've got to find out those resistances first to then get into how to sort of defeat them. But some of the fun or the more fun aspects come when they can charm and dominate party members.
It's good though, like going back to those resistances, it's
Yeah,
quite a range, and not
it
a
is.
lot of higher tier things would have that, but
Yeah,
also like being a fiend, you assume it will be something to do with like hell, different
yeah,
like divinations, and having
yeah,
like a cold resistance, for example, is like there's a
yeah.
good range there. You know what I mean? If it was coming up against a party.
Yeah, 100%. And I suppose you could always change it to how you run it too, because I'm a big fan of reflavoring people. And if you wanted to get rid of some of the resistances, because they can speak like abyssal and infernal, so there's some abyssal aspects there, because they're just generally from the lower planes. But obviously, you could ramp it up one way or another if you want a massive abyssal arc in your story. Lean on those bits more. Maybe take some of the fiendish aspects away, or some of the
Mm.
infernal aspects away. Um, but it's always fun to have the range of things that people don't know and get to mess with. Is always good.
It's always better when you're describing something and a seasoned player is looking at you like, I know what you're fucking up
Yeah, a
here.
hundred
And then
percent.
and then you've completely reskinned it and they're
Oh
absolutely
yeah,
betrayed, which is always nice.
it is always fun. It also catches some of the rules lawyers out, which is fun sometimes when you
Yeah,
get
100%.
they didn't
Um,
do this. You're like, yeah, they do. They do
yeah,
now.
they do now. How does a DM use a succubi incubi in their game?
uh, I mean, as with anything, it kind of depends on the story you want to tell. I mean, when I ran one before, they've come into my stories before, generally they have been under the guise of somebody else. I think once I just had them as uh, small creatures they'd shape changed into, got into
Mm,
a place, and then surprised the party that way. But I have done it when it's an NPC someone loves, or bits and pieces like that. Just because it makes it more interesting, it can add a bit of layer of like, well, what's happened to the actual person then? Are
yeah,
they
yeah.
still are they still alive? Are they sort of just charmed somewhere? Um, but I think when you're running it as a DM, you've really got to lean on those aspects of they're not really there to sort of just do damage output, because in reality they don't do a ton of damage.
Yeah.
They do some, but the real sort of aspects come from charming, I think, and the charming abilities. Being able to dominate one of the party members and then having them have to attack their party is
Yeah.
a little bit soul destroying for the party member, but it's
I
very
don't want
good
to
fun as a
do this.
DM.
I've been
Yeah,
waiting to do this for
yeah.
3 sessions.
Absolutely. I think when I ran it, I managed, or one of the times I ran it, I managed to charm our ranger who, based on their build, had like the highest damage output.
Right.
And there were story reasons why that they were after him as opposed to anybody else, so it kind of just naturally went that way.
Yeah, yeah.
And he failed the save, and I think he didn't outright kill the cleric, but he got them to unconsciousness, which was fun. Before he got like whacked in the head and then just made the save, which was a sad
Yeah.
day for me. But because I didn't have to do much then, it was like, yeah, they're going to sit back and watch you fight there. Just occasionally draining kiss somebody in the background, but
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, that also answers the next question, to be fair.
there
Like
you go.
give an example. But it's
Yeah,
good. You said that you've used it
yeah.
on different occasions. So this is a creature you use quite often. You like pull that out for campaigns and go, yep, this is happening.
I just think they're so fun.
Yeah,
To be
yeah.
honest, I've done it. Yeah, I've done it in different stories. Some of it's been like some have legit been like written bits that I've like they're in there, and I'm like, oh, what a shame.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think I tend to end up with a lot of tieflings in my campaigns. Everyone wants to play a
Right.
tiefling. I play with a lot of queer people, and that is a bit of a standard to play a
It is
tiefling
that
at
that
some
is
point.
like the species, the
It
class.
is. It is. So yeah. So and a lot of them have quite complex backstories linking to the Hells or the Abyss. So being creatures of the Hells and the Abyss, it gives me many opportunities to have them as kind of the grunt men or women, or people to come and charm people away back to whatever demon or
Mm.
devil is potentially linked to that character and wants them for some bizarre reason. Because they make sense to do that, to charm them, to bring them with them.
Yes.
Thankfully, every time that I've done it, they haven't. The charm has ended at some point.
Yeah, it's not
uh,
forever.
and we haven't turned into descent into the Avernus, to be
Yeah,
honest, because that would be
yeah.
God, not
But
great sometimes. But
I
yeah,
mean, it's the like you talking about having used it a couple of times,
yeah,
used the stat blocks and whatnot, the creatures.
yeah,
Um, we've had that before. Like a lot of people have selected creatures that purely because of the RP side of it. And this is
yeah,
obviously that case again where, all right, it might end in
yeah,
combat, but for a player to be
yeah.
combating against their team. But arguably half of it is the challenges in like getting that roll across,
Oh yeah,
making the
100%.
RP really happen, have a bit of fun
Yeah,
with that. So it's the same here as well, where like
yeah,
I think if people are listening and they are going through this podcast, but because of learning new
yeah.
creatures and stuff, RP is arguably just as important
Oh,
for
100%.
combat with monsters as
Yeah.
well. You know?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think it's the most important part. And I think even as some of us that are seasoned DMs, you forget sometimes in combat how important the RP bits still are because
Mm.
like you say, like with the abilities that this has, it is much more about, they're not there to like hit you or they have got multi-attack stuff, but they're really there to mess with your mind as a player
Mm.
or as a character, and get you to succumb to their will, hence succubi. But and having those RP moments with that and having fun with it as a DM, like because it can be quite daunting to have to play that kind of creature where you have to be sort of somewhat someone that is not naturally a seductive person to
Yes.
be somewhat seductive then as a cat as a NPC or a creature. You're a bit like, oh god, but it can be really fun, and obviously you're there with your friends, you'll trust each other with the RP,
That's
so
it.
you can just lean on it really. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think that's also nice because that kind of creature that does require a bit of charming and
yeah,
flirtation, it also kind of gives you more as the DM to get involved rather than
yeah,
here's the session.
yeah,
What do you want to do? Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? You are kind of like an NPC without being an NPC then.
yeah, definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Nice. Okay, well, the question that you've been waiting for, of course,
absolutely.
yeah, what is your least favorite enemy?
So this is one that my again, they're all Strahd related. I apologize. I will have other runs
Whoever wrote
next time I come.
Strahd, write a
Yeah,
better book because
yeah,
my friends
please.
aren't liking your
I'm
enemies.
getting traumatized by it. No, they are. It's a love-hate relationship. I love them, and I really root for the enemies, even as a player, which is really bad to be honest. But my DM recently put us against, and I'm pretty sure they're homebrew ones, but a bog lurker, which
Right.
ironically has some of the same abilities as or same issues that I have that aboleths give. So they
Okay.
can disease you. Which is always fun. The reason that I hate it though is my little halfling paladin has got he's got a thing about getting grappled by every enemy possible. Maybe because he's just a small boy. But in yet another, I think this was probably the sixth time he's been horrifically grappled. Because once they grapple you with their sort of pseudopod like tentacle, I think it was.
Mm.
They can swallow you, and so that happened to my halfling, and it's probably the second or third time he's been swallowed in this campaign.
Jesus
So
Christ, yeah, that's some trauma there.
he's been through the ringer. I need to do a
Yeah,
podcast just on the trauma that my character Kai has gone through. If I'm honest, just for
the
my
real
own
Lord of
mental
the
health.
Rings,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
real Hobbit, how it would have gone.
Basically, yeah.
Nice, amazing.
Hatred is that kind of creature.
Yeah, nice. Well, I mean, it's great. Well, we fully back home brews.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've heard of a bog lurker, or it feels like something that like I would have seen online, or
Yeah, I think it's quite a common homebrew.
yeah. I mean, we're all for it. The more
Hell yeah.
inventive and creative you can be, the better, right?
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, today's adventure is sadly come to a close. We're back again next week with the topic. The longest day ever recorded was 49 hours through time zone traveling on planes. So how come the Guinness Book of Records didn't record the day I lost my job and my husband left me?
Oh
And
God.
as always, thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to join in the D&D action, then please follow us on Instagram. They're my favorite bits.
Yeah.
At How to Play D&D, or check out the link in our bio to join our Discord server. Luke, where can people find you and what are you doing?
You can find me on Instagram. Come and check out my actual play Bard Shots, where I DM various TTRPGs from D&D based ones to all sorts of great independent TTRPGs. And you can find amazing guests like some of the people you've heard on this podcast already, and the host itself. So,
The Bog Lurker.
Yeah, the Bog Lurker. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, right. Well, thank you very much. I've been Connor Kinsey.
I've been Lucas Hall.
Good day.